Top Med Talk.
All right. Well, hello and welcome to Top Med Talk. We are in Washington, D.C. for the annual American Society for Enhanced Recovery, or ASER, meeting. I'm Desiree Chappell, managing editor of Top Med Talk, and I'm joined this morning by Monty Mythen, editor-in-chief. Good morning, Monty.
Hey, Desiree. It's great to be back at ASER in D.C., in the nation's capital.
I know. We took a bit of a beach vacation last year.
It wasn't a vacation. We worked very hard.
we did.
I know some of those pictures that appeared to be in sunglasses in the sun by what looked like a beach might have presented a slightly different image.
Yeah, right.
But for the vast majority of the time, it was 70 and neon, as they say.
It's true. Yeah. It was. So we were in the exhibit hall most of the time.
Less of the vacation.
Yeah, it wasn't a vacation. It was a beach trip. But it was nice. But it's nice to be back in DC.
Yeah, we're very
kind
central.
of the roots for ASER too.
Yeah, we're close to the Mall or the Mall, I believe. I was told by Professor Grocott when we dropped off in the cab last night, the taxi, that it is just a few hundred yards away.
Yeah,
and maybe we'll get out there and see it in a couple of days' time.
Oh, that would be awesome. But we'll see how that happens. Remember, we said that whenever I was sitting about 30 yards from Westminster Abbey and never did see it, but that's okay.
If anyone was watching this on live stream now, which is something we've added, I'm only going to record this one actually. There's an amazing carpet in here.
Is it? Does it look great on video?
It would have looked great about 40 years ago. Maybe it's going to look great again soon.
Well, that's debatable. But so Top Med Talk, we're podcasting, but getting into the vodcasting world. Yep. So Monty's playing with that, so we might put that up a little bit later. Keep on the lookout for that.
I think it's worth it for the carpet.
Well, now we have to show it. So ASER's been really cool. We see lots of familiar faces and folks from the ASER family, but we see a lot of new faces as well. And today we're joined on Top Med Talk by a very special guest who has traveled from afar to join the ASER meeting this weekend. It is Tom Poulton. And he's currently in Australia. Tom, give us a little bit about your background. Introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you very much for having me along.
Thank you.
So I'm a UK-trained anaesthetist and intensivist, currently working in Australia at the Peter MacCallum Cancer Centre in Melbourne.
Commonly known as Peter Mac.
Peter Mac, yes, that's right.
Yeah. Okay, well, how did you end up in Australia? It's a bit of a way for you.
It is. So the reason for leaving the UK for Australia is politics, escaping Brexit. But so that's an entirely different thing that I could rant on for a long time. So we'll not touch on that for too long.
Yeah, probably not a good idea.
I did a year in Perth at the Sir Charles Gardner Hospital there, doing a perioperative medicine fellowship, and then came to hear a lot about what Peter Mac's doing over in Melbourne, and thought that it would be an interesting place to work. So I've gone there. I'm currently there for a year with an open mind as to what follows. So
being from America, don't know much about medicine over in Australia. I mean, I know a little bit more just because of what we've done with Top Med Talk, but can you tell us what makes Peter Mac so special? Like, what are some of the initiatives that they're doing there?
So I've only been there for a few months, so I can't speak with great authority about what they're doing.
Well,
but
what was the draw for you?
So for me, I think it's their focus on perioperative medicine and enhanced recovery. Mm-hmm. So I think probably compared to anywhere else that I've heard of in Australia and probably even worldwide, they're very much ahead of the curve in what they're doing, both enhanced recovery, which is what we hear at ASER about, but also in rehabilitation work, in risk stratification, shared decision-making, early involvement in multidisciplinary teams to get patients fit for surgery with guided exercise programs, clinical psychology input, dietitian input, and then especially for the high-risk patients, because it's a very high-risk cohort, it's a specialist cancer hospital. Having the shared decision-making discussions about what is right for the individual patient.
Yeah, interesting. So you've been there for a short time. You knew a little bit about enhanced recovery. So first of all, DC is a long way for you to travel. But what are you kind of hoping to get out of the meeting this week?
So I spoke to some of the people back at Peter Mac who are doing a lot of work on their local enhanced recovery programs. They've already got a lot of protocols in place, and they're working on refining those. They're also in the process of implementing an electronic health record. So and I know that they are more established in the US. So I thought it would be helpful to try and figure out exactly how we can integrate enhanced recovery into electronic health records. I'm a big believer in something that Carol Peden, one of the speakers, has just been talking about, that having to integrate the work into the routine workflow in order to make it happen, in order to make doing the right thing easy and not doing the right thing hard. And I think that's a really important way to get results.
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody good to talk to about working in the electronic medical record system is Matt McAvoy.
Okay.
I don't think he's actually presenting on that, but we had a great conversation about what they're doing at Vanderbilt with Epic and some of the other programs, integration into current existing pathways and things like that. It's some really cool stuff. So I know that's a common area that people really struggle with, is how to get everything coordinated into the EMR, and then once you do, how to pull out all the data. Monty, wouldn't you say that's...
Absolutely. That's one of the keys of the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I think you work with Professor Bernard Riedel, is that right?
That's right. He's the director of anaesthesia. Yes,
right. And he's a data-driven type of guy.
They're a very research-active group, and yes, he's very much part of that. So I think a big part of what they're hoping to do is make more of routine data collection, and certainly some of my research background from the UK is using perhaps not routine data, but using data collected in a reasonably large data set to drive change, to feedback regularly to hospitals. And obviously this would just be within one hospital, but using data that's collected in the most efficient way to actually drive change, make the case for new investment, new programs.
Absolutely.
Peter Mac's cancer centre, is it a specialist cancer centre?
That's right, yes.
Is there a local belief that cancer outcomes are being improved by adopting enhanced recovery pathways, or is a known unknown? Let's go with the beliefs rather than the facts for a second, do they?
I think, yes, they have. There is very much a Peter Mac way, which I really like the fact that they have. They're not entirely rigid on how they want things done, but there is a Peter Mac ethos and the general delivery of an anaesthetic and the package around that. And I think that they believe very strongly that what they're doing is improving the outcomes for the patients.
So I was going to ask you guys are doing, Monty said primarily cancer. What are some of the other pathways that you are working with for enhanced recovery?
I couldn't necessarily claim to be
that's okay.
in any way.
We're not going to hold this to
because the good work has already been done by many people over a long period of time there.
Yeah.
And I've just a Johnny-come-lately, but they do major colorectal, major urology stuff, free flap work, major sarcoma work. So separate pathways for each of those, which I think they're trying to find a way to keep streamed, but also make the pathways more make the common things more common, so that there is more overlap between them, to aid data collection, to make things easier for the people in theatre, for the people on the ward.
Yeah, absolutely. That's usually that's the common theme as people do this more and more. You expand really widely, and then after a while, you have to kind of come back and narrow the focus down. That's awesome. Well, Tom, thank you so much for joining us. The next session's getting ready to start. I love the perspective that you have. It truly is an international perspective, but bringing that here to the U.S., we all seem to have the same issues, right?
Which is great. Yeah, I think we're all working for the same aims. So,
what is it? Problems are universal, but solutions are... Oh, no, wait.
Hard to remember.
Okay, so anyway, it's good to have your perspective. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, all right. Well, we look forward to talking to you again.
Great to see you.
Right, thank you. And
cheers.
Take care. Top Med Talk.
Nick Majerison here. Thank you for listening to Top Med Talk. Now, make sure you've subscribed to Top Med Talk on your podcatcher, or however it is that you're listening to us at the moment. And you're spoilt for choice. We're on pretty much every single podcast platform you could think of. So make sure you've subscribed. Make sure you've engaged with us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. And make sure you've signed up for our email updates on topmedtalk.com. If you get yourself there, you'll find a website that contains all of the podcasts that we've ever done. And it gives you the chance to sign up for our email updates. That way we can always get in touch with you and tell you what we're up to. Oh, and while you're online, check out ebpom.org/meetings. While you're there, get excited about EBPOM London 2019, the London Perioperative Medicine Congress. It's on July the 2nd, and it's one of many meetings that EBPOM organises around the world in order to communicate the perioperative medicine message. Have a look, ebpom.org/meetings.